of it, honestly. Like, okay, here, little Jimmy. I know you don't play a lot,
The
but
tiniest
we're
of
sending you out
gyms.
there. You're covering KD.
Now, we've got a knife in the back of your jersey.
Jesus.
Extreme. That image of Toad looks like he's just puking.
Of who? Oh, yeah. Wait, who is that?
It's Toad.
Toad?
He's from the first X-Men. He's part of
Oh.
the Brotherhood of Mutants.
I didn't know that.
Mm.
Good for him, though.
Are we
There's
ready
one
to
here.
go, Joe?
I think I'm good to
Nobody's
go.
voted for Toad, really?
Born
Yeah,
ready.
people vote for Toad. I don't know what's wrong with you. And there's someone that put a cry face, too.
It's
Go check out all the
89
X-Men polls on our
89 for
Facebook
Sabretooth,
page.
6 for Toad.
After you listen to
Tier.
GeekVerse episode 281, boom, we are here at E3. We're breaking down.
We're actually in Kelowna.
No, we're here. Shh, we can lie to them. No. We're here. Gonna break down Bethesda's conference. We just did a watch along. You can go back and check out the Xbox one.
Mhm.
Check out our Dark Phoenix review, Black Mirror review. July 20th. I didn't do it on the Xbox one because we were busy, but July 20th, we are doing a 24-hour Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 stream in honor of
Hell
our
yeah.
4-year anniversary. So check out that. That's going to be tons of fun. So if you're into gaming, in E3.
Even if you're not, we're going to make it fun.
Right, it's gonna be a good time. If you're into Marvel, we're gonna make it worth your while and come celebrate 4 years with us. That's a big milestone.
That's a lot of years.
But you know, Bethesda tonight they celebrated their
They
gaming.
apologized.
They celebrated their
apologized.
communities.
Yeah,
Their 150 million players
yeah.
or
Who
something.
wants to
On top of
tackle
each
this first? This conference,
I think Briggs does. I see
Yeah,
him over there.
boom.
I'll
Tyler
jump right in that.
Briggs.
I think
the Doomslayer.
it was a little rough coming up.
Oh, shit.
Coming into this.
I'm Iceman Travis Snell.
I am the scale breaker, Dylan Musk.
And I am your fresh Kirkland Patzer.
I'm
not what I was
play-by-play
gonna say.
Tyler Briggs.
That's not what you're going to say.
And I think going into...
We're gonna do overalls, and then we're gonna get into the game specifically. That
The classic
for new
Geek
people.
Verse.
Sorry, we're a little tired. Long day.
Very long day.
We were all hungry. Then we ate really fast, and it really took us out. And then we
Yeah.
had fucking Keen Machine or whatever that app game was.
Sure. Commander Keen. Yeah.
Keen machine.
So this conference was a little bit rough coming after Microsoft's. Whereas you got Microsoft, they're just dropping trailers, they're dropping games, and not a lot of talking. And then this one was a lot of talking and only a few big game drops, I would say, overall. So it was a little rough. It was a bit of a slog to get through. And yeah, overall, I mean, I wasn't too impressed. There were a couple things that I was pretty excited to see. But I think overall, this felt like a bit of a snoozer to get through.
Snoozer.
And yeah,
Snoozy lose.
so I wasn't super impressed. I mean, it was even like I'm still really excited for the Doom Eternal stuff they showed, and Deathloop I think is super cool. But as a conference as a whole, where Microsoft trimmed a lot of the fat, they just maintained a lot of the fat.
Yeah, that Ghostwire game as well. Like I feel
Oh,
like
yeah,
those, I
Ghostwire
feel like
looks
those
cool.
3 games were like this conference,
Mhm.
whereas
I think
coming from the Xbox One, we just had
Yeah.
so many games, right?
but I think the biggest thing is they spent just as much time talking about the game as they did actually showing the game, and that's
I feel like that
that's
was
a bummer.
I feel like that was kind of their tactic though, because you can only imagine like how much they would show for each of the games that they had. Like, because how long was that conference? I
It
forgot.
was
to check.
over an hour.
It was over an hour.
It was
so
about an hour 15.
I feel like they kind of had to obviously touch upon the Fallout 76 stuff, and then they just didn't have that much content to show.
I feel like a couple years ago, though, they had like a pretty short show.
That's
Yeah,
what I
I
was
feel
gonna
like
say.
it's
They did that
30
Carnival
minutes.
show. Remember? Was
Yeah.
Do
Okay.
it short. Yeah, you
Okay.
don't need to fill the whole time,
Well,
but
there you go. I just
such is life.
Yeah.
contradicted myself.
That was a pretty poor conference overall. I think Bethesda's very consistent at, like, there's always a couple kind of surprises in their shows, and their trailers, their like initial trailers for new games are almost always really good. Like the Evil, what was that game called? The Evil Within or something?
Yeah.
That trailer
Yeah.
is fantastic. And like when we saw Prey, like we were all blown away. Just really good trailers, and that's the same thing here for those 2 new games. Our new game from Arcane and then
Deathloop and
the
Ghostwire.
Japanese studio that they have. Yeah, but Bethesda is not super consistent with a good show. Like last year was very bad. They had like some weird musical thing. Just like generally the flow of it wasn't great. But the year before was great. The year before was also really good. So I don't know. They always like pick a theme for their show. And this one they did the community thing, the everyone thing. And that was cool. It's good to honor your players. And I get that. But I think they touched on those things a little bit too much even. Like they they showed more footage of like those people talking
Yeah.
about their experience with their games like multiple times. And then they did the classic thing where they would like introduce a developer would introduce trailer, and then it'd come back to the developer and they'd say some more stuff. Just not really good pacing at all. Like, this did not need to be over an hour. I think
No.
short and sweet is better. Do a 40-minute show. You don't need as much detail as they had in here. So I was pretty disappointed with it overall, but I wanted to see the new Arcane game, and I got that, and it was cool. So I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
But other than that, I the other new game they showed is pretty sweet. We'll talk about that in detail. But overall, it was a pretty disappointing show.
Yeah, I'll piggyback just because I feel similar to Dylan and Briggs. It may be a bit harsher because Dylan's a big Arcane fan and he's a
Mhm.
big Doom fan. So, and not harsher. It's not a fail conference for me because at least there's things I was interested in. The Doom stuff looked great. The Deathloop trailer, I don't think I'll be playing that because I've never played any of the other games. But it looked really good. I liked the idea behind it, and I'm excited once Dylan gets it to kind of, if he does get it, to hear his experience with it.
I likely will. It'll probably be a day one for me.
Yeah, and then Ghostwire is a game that I could really like. Yeah, turn your mic off, you rook. Okay.
You don't need to say that into the mic.
Okay. And then things like Ghostwire, really Ghostwriter shit. Ghostwire, really good trailer. I liked it, but I didn't see any gameplay or anything like that. So I don't know if it's gonna be a type of game that I'm going to enjoy. So like I said, it's not a fail from that aspect, but this was a very boring conference. If you watch or watch along, Dylan, at one point like, oh, what you doing? Because I was like, I try not to go on my phone unless there's emergency or I gotta update something for the page. And it was just they were doing that community thing, and it's a nice, fun theme to have. But that's just not stuff I'm to. I'm not into that stuff. It's fine. I'm fine with my inner gamer. I get it's celebrating gamers, this and that, but that's just not stuff I find interesting. I would tune out if we weren't doing this. I would have been cleaning kitchen. I would have been looking back and forth. I would have been doing stuff, playing with my
Looking
daughter.
back and forth.
Well, like in a different room, like, oh, that's cool. Or, oh, they're talking about Keen Machine, like leave.
Keen
So, yeah, and then it was just a lot of stuff that was really long, like they talked about, lots of talking, games that I'm not interested in. So I think either you do the Nintendo Direct style, which that's what disappointed me. They did that like a year ago where it was like 30, 40 minutes of just that, and I love that like circus theme, and they're going around. It was like they showed what was it, like a wheel, and it was like there was only like 4 or 5 slots, and they went there, showed 10, 15 minutes, or not even 5, 10 minutes, and went to the other, and that was it. And I would have liked if they did that, because if not, then I was saying this watch on, do the Sony approach. I don't think they needed one this year. I think you could have dropped those trailers and got the hype. I think you could have put those at Xbox. I think Doom, you could have released that gameplay and mode somewhere else. Or, like I said, just do like the Bethesda Nintendo Direct sort of thing. So this was a very disappointing conference. I think this is their worst one. I think next year's a lot different. I think this was just a buffer one because they're trying to make it till they get to Starfield next year, because I imagine that's when it coming out. So this felt like we don't have much. We're going to spread it thin, like, too much bread or bun, or too much butter over not enough bread, as Bilbo would say. So yeah, luckily they have Ubisoft tomorrow, and usually they take the the worst conference for me every year, just because they're really long and I don't enjoy any of the games. But it's in contention for me to possibly, if Ubi somehow pulls anything at least good, this could be the weakest conference, and Square's hit or miss. So I was really disappointed, really bored. Yeah, it's Bethesda, and it felt like a kind of waste of my time other than hanging out with these guys, which is fun. So that sucks because I expect a bit better. So that's my thoughts.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I already kind of touched upon kind of right in the same wavelengths as these guys. I didn't really have expectations going into this because I knew that the big games that I was interested in, like Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6, were like years away. So I've kind of figured we weren't going to be seeing those. I thought maybe they might touch upon Starfield, but like I said, I wasn't really getting my hopes up for that. The new Arcane game I'm actually really excited for, and then the Ghostwire, that looks really interesting as well. I'm excited to see more about that. So other than those two, and then kind of the Doom stuff, and I guess a little bit of the Rage 2 stuff, I was pretty much just hanging out with you guys, not really like fully invested in the conference.
Chastising the
Yeah,
announcers
exactly.
and
So like that stuff is fun, but like for the conference itself, yeah, it's pretty disappointed. And I would kind of have to compare their conferences throughout the last couple of years, but I could totally see this one being their worst conference.
Their last.
Their last. Hopefully it's not their last.
E3 won't have them back.
Yeah.
No, can't do it.
No, it's definitely their worst one, probably since we've been doing
Mhm.
the coverage for it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Just bad pacing. Right.
Yeah, it's just a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Because like if you compare this one to Xbox was just really fluid. They didn't have.
We're not used to saying that.
I know,
It's a new
it's
year.
weird 'cause I guess the lack
Yeah.
of PlayStation
Mm-hmm.
or Xbox just getting their stuff together. But yeah, they were
Definitely.
just mostly showing gameplay, whereas this one was a lot of talking. So
First thing we had was Fallout 76 showcase. Like, they came out and introduced everything like that, but then they talked about new modes, everything like that. I was surprised we talked about them predictions. I wasn't sure if they're going to talk about Fallout 76 or just ignore it, but it looks like they're going to try and do like the No Man's Sky, kind of rehab it, get it back to player base. That's a good idea, 'cause I just didn't know, did they take a shot and they went, oh, we're done, or did they want this to be a brand that's growing? Clearly they want that, and I think if they want that, they made all the right moves. Obviously, it's kind of a tale that still needs to be told to see if it plays out well, if all these add-ons work and are like good for the fans. Other than Todd Howard says everyone's stuck with them and played in a very Bethesda brainwashed crowd that was very jacked up.
It was very strange. yeah.
Dylan has a conspiracy theory, right?
Well, there's a lot more clapping in the front 2 rows than any other row, and the front
they're
2
all
rows
dressed up
were
too.
like very consistent. Yeah, so
Mm.
maybe they
Yeah.
just like pulled like the people who were waiting at their booth all day on Saturday, and they got those people to come be in the front row, or maybe they paid them off. Who knows?
Paid actors.
So we have that event coming, Nuclear Winter, and then in the fall also
Yeah.
a bunch of updates. You guys take it 'cause you guys are the
Yeah, so
and check out Fallout 76 review you guys did a few months ago.
Yeah.
you can check that out. And I can't really confirm what that game is like today 'cause I haven't played it in 2019. I don't know, last
Yep.
time I played it was somewhere in December. So it's been a while for me, and that game definitely it wasn't a finished game. If it, as a quick recap of what we said on that review is that there's just a lot of problems that the game had, didn't really feel finished. And so it's nice that there's some basic things like NPCs coming, and then well, I guess I should say human NPCs 'cause there was NPCs
Yep.
in the game already to some extent, but some more stories and just classically more content stuff. So it's nice that all that is in there for free. I think they have to do everything free for this game for the remainder of its lifespan.
100%.
But the thing is, they can't just give up on Fallout 76 because since it's a new type of thing for them, doing online game, if they just abandon it, then people would have no faith in them doing another multiplayer game eventually. So who knows? Maybe they want to do it with next Elder Scrolls, or maybe Starfield has multiplayer components. But they need to buy back the favor there. So basic features like that, just more content is expected. But yeah, the unexpected thing was the battle royale that they're doing, which is it's like, what did they say, 50 players?
52.
Wow, you guys are all on it. Nice. So that's cool. I like that they can use Fallout 76 as like a base game, like just like a place where you can go hang out with your friends and play some, do some missions, do some campaign, whatever, or just go around do some stories. But then also you can just go do and go and play some battle royale mode. And
Battle Royale.
I'll definitely check that out, see what it's like.
Yeah.
I feel like a Bethesda game mixed with battle royale is just gonna be super glitchy and buggy, but who knows? Maybe it'll be really good. I'm not sure.
Could be anything.
I'm excited to find out. I don't know. It's like, since it's not a subscription game, I still own it, and I'll definitely try out some of these things. I'll probably when the battle royale mode is live, which I guess they said they're doing like a test this week of it or something like
Yep.
that. It's coming out this summer, so
That's probably like a beta version of it though, so it probably
Right.
will be glitchy and buggy.
I'll probably try it out when it's the full release in the game.
yeah.
The other stuff like the human NPCs, more stories. That's great stuff, but that's not really enough for me to want to jump back in the game and
Yeah.
play it again because I got too much other stuff on the docket. So I think they did a good way of handling it, though, handling a game that had a disastrous launch and just tons of flack thrown at Bethesda. I think they did a really good job of managing that at this conference.
That trailer is good of like,
Mhm.
oh, it was
And, like,
scarier than we
yeah,
thought, and
yeah.
we weren't prepared for what was going on. It was all like in-game, like Deadpool meta stuff. So then they always
And
do
yeah,
that.
Todd
so.
wasn't like too smug about it. He can be
Yeah.
very smug. I think he was fine there.
He was humble at times, like, hey, we made a lot of mistakes and had a rough launch, which was good because when they started by joking at first, I thought, I don't know if that's the right approach to take this whole
Mhm.
time, but like you said, they toned it down a
Yeah.
bit. It was like a 50-50, so
Yeah.
it was a good call.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm pretty much what Dylan said. I think they handled it well enough. They addressed it, but they didn't linger on it. And I think they're taking the right steps in the right direction there,
Mhm.
as far as just adding free content to the game for people who own it. I don't think Battle Royale's a great place to go with Bethesda Elder Scrolls, not Elder Scrolls, Bethesda like Fallout, like combat mechanic wise. I just think there's a lot of lackluster stuff, and in a Battle Royale, I feel like obviously however the combat feels needs to be pristine.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's anything wrong with it, then it's just going to be really frustrating. So I don't think that's necessarily the right way to go, or I don't have a lot of faith in them executing it properly. But I mean, on full release, I might as well check it out. I own the game, so it'll be interesting to see what they do with it. But yeah, I think it'll still be quite a while before that game is worth.
I don't think it's something that would be like a selling point for someone who didn't have
definitely not.
76. So
Yeah, for sure.
I have nothing to add.
You got anything to add on Elder Scrolls Blades coming into Switch?
whoa,
Because I don't.
I think it's good for Dylan because his
Yeah.
phone isn't good enough to
I'm
run
super down.
Blades,
Yeah,
so
my
now you could-
phone
yeah.
sucks. It runs out of battery,
well,
and
his
it's not
phone's
good
gonna
enough.
be busy running Doom.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
26.
running Doom. So
Yeah, the old Doom.
I'm super stoked. I mean, I've heard a lot of that Blades is like a kind of a weird, like crappy game, but
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll get better.
There's a lot of paid loot box.
But it also
content
came out in
as
like
well.
alpha or like beta or something. So
Great.
Yeah,
I'll definitely download
maybe.
it on my Switch and try it out because I'm not really into MMOs, which is why I haven't really played online, and I'm not really that much into card games, which is why I've only played Legends a bit. But I like Elder Scrolls, the world and the lore enough to want to
Mhm.
try out Blades, because a lot of what I saw, like I liked the reveal last year because there was a lot of familiar places for me from Morrowind and Oblivion, stuff like that,
Oblivion.
some throwbacks. So I'm down from that perspective. I don't really know what the game is like a whole lot, but I'll definitely check it out now it's coming to my Switch.
I don't have a Switch, but
But you might.
this
You
made
said
me.
you might.
I might
the future
yes.
this year.
So until then, I've yet to download it and try it on on my
Mhm.
phone, but might as well give it a shot. And when was it coming out on the Switch? Is it
I
like
think they said fall,
okay?
Fall
Yeah.
2019. Yep.
so who knows what that means.
I have no
oh.
interest in Blades.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
This makes sense because we didn't notice that time. Ghostwire Tokyo is the next game from Evil Within developers, so
Okay.
that kind of makes
Oh,
sense. So
interesting.
yeah, it's not the Ronin game I was hoping for, but I'm gonna pretend to play it that way. That game all depends on me. Great trailer. I loved it. Very
Really good
cinematic,
trailer.
cool world.
It's like Infinity War meets like Death Stranding,
Yeah.
right? Not two things you would expect to come together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, to me, that one's definitely a gameplay one because I want to see how it plays. Don't make fun of me, but I want to see some action. But that is on a radar. Evil Within. I really liked the trailer when the game came out. It got like good reviews, but I think, as always, you got to be picky and choosy when we don't, do this for a living. So it just didn't match it. But I remember wanting to play it, people liking it. So with this being, and that was a sequel as well. It was kind of a weird sequel, but it's one on the radar. It's not like I gotta get it, but it's one I'm gonna keep my eyes on and a potential buy down the line. I liked what I've seen so far. It's a good first impression. They have my curiosity. Let's see if they can keep my attention.
Yeah. Once again, like I was saying, in my overall, like Bethesda usually has some sort of knockout trailer, and I guess it makes sense that we were saying Evil Within, and it's the same developers. So they definitely have a certain aesthetic to their games, and definitely a unique tone. So I'm not sure what this is like gameplay wise. I don't even know what Evil Within is really like gameplay wise because I never really got that
Yeah, me neither.
far into it. Maybe with Game Pass, I'll check it out. # Game Pass
Game
if it's
Pass.
on there, which I cannot confirm. But
Could be.
I love this. I love this reveal, this trailer. It's really fantastic. Right, it just gets you interested. Like this game's now on my radar, and then I can't wait to see some gameplay of it and see if it's actually a game I'd like to purchase. But it's definitely in my pocketbook now.
Yeah, I agree. Only positives really coming from the trailer. I'm really excited to see gameplay, and that'll probably determine whether it'll be a buy or a game
Or a sell.
day. Yeah, I was gonna say a day one buy, or just a buy in general. But yeah, I'm excited to follow it and see where it ends up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Actually, no, I'm not going to say super excited, but it seems really. I just
Tricked ya.
throw out
Tricked ya.
buzzwords. It seems really interesting. At least I like the thematic, I guess they're going with just people are disappearing. Tokyo's being taken over by these supernatural beings, and you're kind of fighting back, trying to save Tokyo. I guess. Who knows?
Reverse the
But
snap.
yeah, exactly. So it looks like an interesting idea. And as far as the game's aesthetic looks overall from the trailer there, I think it's great. This one for me is definitely a big gameplay is going to have to sell for me. This trailer, it looks cool, but that's easy enough to do to some degree when you have a big budget with Bethesda. So I think I'm very much on the wire with this one, you might say.
Ooh, on the wire.
Ew.
Hey. So yeah, cool idea, but I will need to see gameplay before I lean into it anymore.
Lean it.
Yeah, I couldn't find much on quick searches. Evil Within is just a third-person survival horror game. So
Okay.
I've been, but
Yep.
kind of give you an idea
Sure.
what they might do. But this looks like it might have some action. Like I'm sure Wolfenstein did, but this guy, he had a sword, so it might be a bit more
Yeah.
action heavy. So
It looked like it had
Which
some
is-
unique like creatures and stuff
Yeah.
too.
crossbows.
I'm a little curious because
Creepy
when the
hands.
developer came up, she was talking about how it was like a supernatural horror sort of thing, but how much of a horror game can it be if you can actively fight back against what's kind of trying to kill you? So
True.
yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I have 0 to add on Elder Scrolls Online.
0.
Yeah. Me neither.
Yeah, I mean it's cool that they keep adding content to the game. I think for Elder Scrolls Online fans, it's big news.
Yeah, it's great
but
for you.
Yeah, I'm pretty nothing to say.
And then after they started talking about Commander Keen, this mobile game, I don't think this had a place at all at Bethesda, especially
Yeah.
because the main
Super out of
characters, I know it
place.
was like kind of like nerdy and fun, but it's like this conference are dropping F-bombs and making adult jokes, and
Yep.
it just did not fit the vibe. It just felt like someone has like some blackmail info on Pete Hines,
Yeah.
like you got to put
It was
our
like
game
Pete
up there.
Hines' like son came and brought this idea,
Yeah.
and he's like, "We got to do this."
It
so
was
you're all
just-
fired.
It was just weird, and like Dylan was joking about on the watch along. I'm not, and for honestly, I'm not indie games. I'll give a chance to something I want to watch. Mobile games just doesn't. I don't like playing games on my phone. It's just a
Yep.
thing. It's the same way as why the Switch before it was when we got revealed you could dock it when it was just a handheld rumors. I was like, not for me. I'm a big screen type of guy. I'm not a mobile guy. So
Yeah.
and this just didn't look interesting at all. So just
Yeah.
not anything that's gonna interest me.
Yeah, they brought it up because I guess it was like a game originally made by the people who made like id Software, I guess, so like Doom
Yep.
or something like
It's-
that. It's one of
Bethesda
their-
likes to take old IPs and reboot them.
Yeah, but there's a difference between like a reveal like Rage 2
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
Prey, which are like spiritual successors to an older franchise, and something like this, which is just like a very cheaply looking mobile game, right? Like that, you
Yeah.
don't need to show
Yeah.
that on the big stage. You don't need to take
Nope.
5 minutes to. You don't need to take
Yeah.
5 minutes for that. It's not worth it.
But the thing is that they talked for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
about
that would be
Yeah.
something I think like at QuakeCon they could show off. Like,
Yeah.
hey, you guys remember this old gem?
Yeah. Or like with the
Not on the E3
Xbox
big
conference
stage.
when they had like that quick little like at the end little outro, and there were games in there that weren't shown in the main event, and they could have just had like a quick little
Yeah.
thing of like gameplay,
Mhm.
and then they elaborated on it at a later point.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they first showed it, it obviously wasn't gameplay looking back on it, but at one point I kind of thought it was. So it was like kind of unique art style, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this kind of looks like fun. I'm like, oh, you can kind of play it like couch co-op, and then I remembered it was a mobile game. So then when you
Yikes.
actually saw like the gameplay, it was just like, oh man, why is this even on here, right?
Yeah.
After that was Wolfenstein, The Youngblood. I got nothing. I've never played these games. I probably won't play this one. But it looked cool.
Yeah, I've never played them, but just like gameplay, it just looks so like fast paced, sort of like Doom like, and it looks fun.
That's Wolfenstein.
Yeah, it just looks fun to me. So I don't know, it's getting me interested, and maybe one day I'll
Yeah.
dive into
The
them.
co-op,
It's cool with the co-op.
The
I was
co-op
gonna
is
say.
definitely a selling point for me because I know Briggs likes these games and we like playing co-op games together.
Yep.
And the fact that apparently some Arcane homies were working on this
Yep.
game, so that
I
has
think-
me really
yeah.
interested as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited for this. I think I don't know if it was 2 years ago or last year, but they revealed it. And I mean, it's always been a cool idea to bring like that multiplayer co-op to what Machine Works does with a shooter. So I'm excited for it for sure. As the Wolfenstein games, Wolfenstein games,
I
are
like
pretty great.
the characters, the two like main
Yeah.
characters they introduced that you play as. Something different. It seems like a fun tag team to go
Mhm.
through, and like definitely. I don't know. Definitely different than other co-op games I've seen in recent times. So
Yeah. And it seems to me, at least, that it's going to be similar to the new Colossus as the Old Blood was to
sure.
the New Order, and that it's sort of it just usually goes for about half the price of a full game, and it's just maybe 4 or 5 hours of fun gameplay,
Mhm.
and it's a much campier, much less serious tone as with the New Order and the new Colossus. Very very heavy thematics
Yeah.
and kind of a dark tone, whereas as with the Old Blood, it was much more lighthearted, just kind of going back to the old sort of campiness that you might find in like the kind of humor you might find in just like the old Doom games or the
Mhm.
old Wolfenstein games, where you're just going through these hallways and just shooting Mecha Hitler, that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so it'll be really cool. I hope. I think a big thing for me that will affect my enjoyment is how good the chemistry is between the two characters. It looked like there was some fun, just like sisterly moments going on, and just kind of getting on each other's asses over stupid things. So if that's pretty fun, I think that'll bring a lot to the Youngblood. So I'm excited for it, and it's something I'd love to play with Dylan Muss over here.
Aw,
So
that's so sweet.
yeah, I think I'm pretty excited for it.
Sweet.
After that, Arcane came out to introduce
Oh,
Deathloop. I'll let Dylan
yeah.
lead this one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this was a strictly cinematic trailer, so you know what I love so much about my Arcane is their level design. I didn't really get to see that. It's more just kind of introduction of the world that they're taking in. I was kind of expecting that they were going to drift away from Dishonored for now, just because Dishonored 2 wasn't a huge financial success, and I think it's better to maybe try some other strategy. So I don't know. I think the tone of this looks really interesting. In Dishonored 2, something they switched up from the first game is trying you can play as two separate characters through the campaign, and they kind of play differently. They have different abilities. They kind of have some similar, but they fundamentally change like how you interact with the world, right? So it makes that level design even better because you get to experience it different ways. And then it changes the story as well in kind of sort of more minimal ways in Dishonored 2, whereas in Deathloop, I nailed it, Deathloop, it looks like it'll kind of be like one playing from the good, one playing from like the evil side. And obviously, as Travis was joking about, like, oh, who's to say which is which?
It's interpretive.
It's interpretive, and I think that will be really fun to kind of take this. I don't know if it'll be the same campaign that you kind of experience from these two characters, or if
Seems
maybe
like
it's like
it'll
the
be
level,
like
maybe the level orders get switched around or
Yeah.
something, and you experience it in a different way. But whatever it is, I'm excited to find out because it feels like if they just take a level and experience like have two different ways that you can experience it through these different characters, through like different ordering in the story or something like that. That could be a really fun way to mix up and reuse like the levels that they already have a lot of depth with.
Yeah.
Do you think at the end of the game they find a way to put aside their differences and find out that, you know, they can work together, one's right, one's wrong, and they become a team?
Sure.
It's a prediction.
Yeah. Maybe it's revealed at the end that it's actually in the Dishonored universe and it's like this big.
You never know. I liked the trailer. It was very stylized, good song choice. It's nothing I'll be playing just because I'm not a big first-person guy and I haven't played any of the other
You don't know
ones.
it's first person.
I thought they said that.
Did they?
Nope.
I thought they said that because they were talking about that in the middle of the level structuring.
Could be.
Like it being,
I don't know.
you can approach things differently and
Oh,
everything like
I didn't
that.
catch
So
that.
I could be wrong. Either way, Prey looked really cool. They have great trailers, and I don't think they're bad games. It's just, and I liked the idea of kind of the time loop, kind of like Edge of Tomorrow sort of deal with Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt there. So it's one, like I said, I'll be excited when Dylan gets it and hears some good things about it. Cool aesthetic. Characters look cool. It felt a lot different than Prey and Dishonored. It did, like I said, I've said cool 5 times, but it had
Yeah.
that cool factor. I could say
Prey
Dishonored
was
and
quite
Prey-
a departure from Dishonored, right?
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
I could say like they look cool, but I mean like they were going for a cool style in this trailer. So I thought that was a good idea too, just kind of just to like if you're saying they're freshen up, that's a good way to freshen up. It didn't just look like it could be in the Dishonored world, but it doesn't just look like it's Dishonored with a different skin or different character, right? So it's smart, change it up, see the results. So I'll keep my eyes on it.
Yeah, this game looks really interesting. I mean, as with Dylan, the guys at Arcane, they're just phenomenal at level design, and aesthetics are just absolutely amazing and really cool gameplay ideas. So I have high hopes for this game for sure. I really like the idea of having that kind of time loop, and also just the island itself and the whole lore behind the game that they've sort of revealed. It looks really awesome. So I'm really excited to see more, and I'd love to see some gameplay as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited. From what I've played from Arcane Studios, I've just been blown away from the content they've been able to put out. I haven't played Prey. I've seen gameplay, and I haven't played Dishonored 2, but I have played Dishonored 1. But I have seen gameplay from Dishonored 2, and I know we didn't see gameplay in this, but I don't know if this makes sense. But I just feel like they kind of have like a similar feel to them, and I'm just digging it. I'm loving it. I like that they're kind of showing off like you can use guns and like melee weapons, like a sword or something, but also like those like cosmic powers or whatever they had. It just looks like a great time, and it definitely checks off the boxes that I'm interested in a video game. So can't wait for some gameplay reveal.
They always offer different ways to play their games. It's so cool that in Dishonored and in Prey you can beat the games without like having any of the special powers, like the magic powers. You can beat the game without those at all.
Yeah,
So
it's cool that they throw that in there because they don't have to, right? A lot of games don't, and it adds more.
It adds that much more depth to the level design too, because the levels are obviously the first and foremost designed to take advantage of your powers, by the fact that they add in routes and and different possibilities for
Yeah.
you to navigate the level just as effectively without using the powers at all.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's just really cool that they managed to do that.
And if you play without the powers, it affects the story too. It
Mhm.
changes like how the story unfolds. That happens more in Prey than in Dishonored, but it's just crazy how much like revolves, like all the systems that they have are so intertwined.
Yeah, and it's just it adds more replayability, right?
Mhm.
Whereas like these types of games, they don't really have online. They just straight up they don't have online. So like if you get just a linear story, a lot of times it's one and done. Whereas this
Mhm.
time it gives you an
Yep.
excuse to jump back in there, and you're actually experiencing like a different story.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's awesome. I'm really excited for it.
Then they ended with Doom, big deep dive trailer release date, which is coming November 22nd. Briggs, you want to take us away?
Yeah,
Doom guy?
Doom. They revealed a lot of cool stuff way back in the last year. They revealed that they're making a Doomverse, and they're going to be putting a lot of work into the lore and just the kind of the world building of Doom itself, and which is kind of and it's an interesting take. I think it's pretty expected going into games nowadays, but when they first released Doom 2016 and with like Doom games before, it's strictly about the gameplay and the mechanics. There's no sure, it's cool if they can add little lore bits in there, but it's very much on the back burner as far as gameplay design goes. So, but with the games nowadays, and it seems like they've definitely got the mechanics and the gameplay on lock. So it's cool to see these different places you're going to go. Then they reveal you're going to hell, you're going to heaven, going to other dimensions, you're going to space. It's a lot of really cool things, and I think it's going to be really cool to be able to experience that in the Doom game. As with the last one, it showed that they're very effective at setting the tone and incorporating really cool level design with these different locations. And I think the lore, at least in that they included through like upgrading weapons or like finding new locations and finding like these hell tablets or whatnot in Doom 2016, they did a really good job with creating this kind of world outside of the gameplay that you're sort of experiencing. And I think that's going to be really cool that they're bringing in so many different aspects into Doom Eternal, and just the introduction of having these more holy elements and elaborating on the hell elements. I'm really excited to see what they do with the world building in terms of these, because Travis, you were saying during the preview there that like just that sort of like cyberpunk mixed with like divine, I guess, beings is such a cool concept to explore.
It's weird, it's wacky, it's out there, and it's unique. What other game's doing what Briggs just said?
Yeah.
You know?
So I'm super excited for it. I like that they as far as gameplay goes, they didn't really show too much more than I think it was QuakeCon last year when they had like the 40-minute reveal. It was a bunch of talking with like 25 minutes of gameplay.
The battle mode is new, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's new. A lot of the regular campaign, they didn't really show any new locations or anything, but yes, the battle mode looks really cool. I think it's gonna be a fun addition. And yeah, I'm not really too sure what to think of it right now or how it's gonna work, because initially last year they announced it as in the campaign. There'll be like other players can queue up and drop into your campaign and mess with you. And then now it seems like it's going to be its own separate game mode. And I'm a huge fan of asymmetrical game modes where it's like 1v4 or something like that. Games like Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th,
yo,
and
played it today.
way back Singularity did it too. Really good games. I think it makes for a lot of fun replayability and great game design. And yeah, I'm excited to see more. I think it was QuakeCon they said they're going to be revealing more at, so I'm excited for that. And yeah,
I think for me the really interesting part was, I haven't played I guess Doom 2016, but I think one of the things that maybe was not a drawing point for me is that it kind of all looked the same from the gameplay I saw. Like it was kind of the same color schemes, looked like the same style like the whole way through, whereas this one seemed like you're going to a whole bunch of different spots and you get different types of like color. Like there's kind of like a green like fungal area, and then you go to like this like the kind of heavenly sort of divine like trippier area where it's not even like confined like spaces, like you're just jumping along like platforms like floating in the sky, kind of like the Void in Dishonored or something. and then it still has like the classic Doom style. So to me, it just like seems like there's more diversity in like the locations you visit, which is a good thing.
As someone who's
colorful for now.
played Doom 2016, there is a pretty solid diversity of locations.
Sweet. Well,
Yeah,
this game did a lot better job of displaying that, I think,
Yeah,
in a
definitely.
short and effective way. The battle mode is super, super interesting to me. Briggs said all the good things you need to say about asymmetrical game types, but yeah, I mean, it's so much fun. Like that's one of the drawing points of why Left 4 Dead was so cool, is because you actually get to play as the zombies. How many games do you get to play as the zombies? It's pretty rare. So yeah, that looks really, really fun to me, and that's like almost a selling point for me, honestly. And I
was
mean,
gonna
what
say the
Briggs is
same.
saying with like story stuff, it sounds like I don't really need to play Doom 2016. If I get the chance, if on sale or something like that, I'll go for it. But maybe I'll just jump into this game cold, and that will be probably all that's necessary.
Sure,
So
there's a nice 6-minute YouTube video to catch you up.
Yeah, I mean, there is story and a lot
I've
of
watched a speed run of the game before.
And
So
there
like
you go,
there's
yeah.
a story and there's a lot of cool lore stuff, but I could explain that
Yeah.
to you in 2 sentences.
Sure.
And there's no like big heavy emotional tones. It just
Mhm.
kind of moves Doomslayer from one point to the next.
yeah.
One of the
I
main
think
guns
they-
is called Big Fucking Gun.
Yeah, there you go. I think they did a great job as well at showing, like, obviously the battle mode, also showing just like a bunch of quick snippets of like different gameplay sequences, and then just showing one room for like 2 or 3 minutes, just
Yeah.
showing like, okay, this is actually what the game is like, live action. It's just like this is what you'll be doing in a 5 to 10 minute sequence. So really good job of like they showed different types. They showed the gameplay in like different ways. They showed a lot of gameplay, which I always like, and it didn't drag on. And I was kind of maybe worried that was going to drag on a little bit, just because I didn't play the first one, didn't know how interested I was going to be, and I heard that like, oh, this is the main event of this Bethesda E3. I don't know if I'm going to be into that, but they did a really good job with that. So that was like the one part of the show that really didn't drag on. So
I agree, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
did
I
a really
agree
good job
that
with
as
Doom.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game I've always just found them pretty interesting, and it just like a fast paced first person shooter with just an interesting like aesthetic to it. I like the shots. I don't know if it was in hell, but it just looks like it's kind of like cathedral like, and there's just a lot.
Yeah, really cool stuff. with
Yeah,
that.
it's just really interesting, and especially like the heaven stuff or I don't know if it was necessarily. Oh yeah, that was when I was joking around that it was heaven, but like
Matter
he's
of
in the ship.
perspective.
He's in the ship and he's like just looking down. It's just really cool
Yeah.
aesthetics to it. Thank you, Travis. And it it just looks fun in general. But the one thing that kind of like switched my mind around is like, man, I kind of want to play this now. Was the battle mode?
Mhm.
Just 'cause I don't know. You just like if you're one of the minority that gets chosen to be like the I don't know what you'd call them, the demons, I guess. 'Cause it looks like
Yeah.
there's 2, right?
Yeah, there's 2 demons and 1 slayer.
That's sick.
And then the demons can summon other like NPC
oh,
or
okay.
AI
Right,
controlled
like the more simple
like
monsters that you wouldn't want to play.
Yeah.
as.
so you
Yeah.
play as like the
Ones that
more
get
like the
one-shot.
named
Yeah.
monsters. You have
Yeah.
like the more classic ones with distinct attacks, and then you can summon just like hordes of other.
Yeah, that'd be so fun to me.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see kind of like some gameplay of
Right.
that, especially when
Yeah.
they show, because I'm assuming they'll show it off at QuakeCon.
Yeah, there's like a little bit of gameplay, but it'll be interesting to see like what the actual objective or how each
Mhm.
side wins, because I imagine there's more to it than just kill the other player.
Yeah.
Maybe the demons, I would imagine the Doom Slayer himself has to complete some sort of objective, whereas the demons are trying to slow him down and stop him from completing it within a time, or just straight up kill him.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, but overall, like what Dylan said, I felt like this was probably like the best pacing out of the entire conference. Everything we saw, it didn't seem like it dragged on. I was really interested in it, and overall, it was just really good. It was a good way to cap off this
Mhm.
conference.
Yeah, these guys say everything looks great. It's funny, like I always talk about first person, but like Rage and Doom, these are I don't know why first person is the fast pace is what I'm drawn to. I think 'cause that's the experience I really want in first person. Where like lots of like for me something like Cyberpunk, where it's this big world, I like seeing like in a movie point of view.
Yeah.
But when it's just like balls to the wall, you're shooting everywhere. That's what I want first person. I just want to
Yeah.
be like for a ride. It's just I think it's the same thing as last one. Where last one reviewed very well. It just comes at a time where I have other games where I'm busy. We talked about that during with Outer Worlds. Like there's already Death Stranding and maybe Jedi Fallen Order for me. So it's just and even Outer Worlds if I consider it. So it just comes at that time in fall where
tricky.
it's just tough. You get pounded with games, and then even
Yeah.
then like. In April will be Cyberpunk. It's like that's not too far after the New Year, so it's one of those like if I ever get a chance to play, it'd be great. I don't think I'd be buying it, but it looked tons of fun. I think they killed the demo. I think it does a good job. I think I agree with Dylan the first time. I just remember a lot of just like cement and around corners and shooting things. You
It's
know,
all
like
red.
yeah, and it looked
and
a lot like
brown.
the classic Doom and everything like that. So I think that's what they're going for. Like, look, it's your grandpa's Doom. This is like, well,
Grandpa's
this is like
Granddaddy's
is a
Doom.
whole new this is the new generation. We got
Yeah.
those OG fans and new ones. Now let's
Mhm.
evolve it a bit, and it looks great. So
Yeah.
I hopefully would like to play it one day, and if not, I think the fans will really like it. The first one sold really well.
Yeah.
So if this can stay on that same bandwagon as
Yeah.
far as the quality, they got a good franchise here, and they can keep pumping them out. And it's not serialized or anything, so it's not like a fatigue. It still
No.
feels very fresh. So I
Yeah,
think that's good. In the
definitely.
battle mode, same
Mhm.
thing. Very fresh idea, good.
Yeah.
Not fresh idea name wise, but it's all fine.
It's funny too.
It's an
'cause-
effective name though,
Yeah,
right?
you get the
know,
idea.
You know what you're getting into.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Mhm.
like in my like immediate friend group or whatever, like I don't know too many people that play it. Like it's probably Briggs and one other people, but like
One of the people.
the people that
Yeah.
have
One of the
played it,
people.
one of the mess with my words. The people that have actually played it just claim that it's just amazing, and they like
Yeah.
live. They
They live
they-
for it.
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know what I was trying to say. There. It's been a long day.
It has been a
has
while.
been.
One thing that's nice is also it, despite not being like a huge, like story focused shooter, and it's very much you can just play it single player only and get a great experience out of it. Even though there isn't like a huge story, and it's like you'd expect it to have like a big focus on multiplayer like COD, where COD like puts story to the side, but this is very much like it's designed to be you versus a bunch of just computers,
Yeah.
and it excels at that. And I think what's really good about that is you can pick it up years after release and still get a great experience, because you don't necessarily need to be in the loop with the game. You don't need to be there to enjoy the online community. You can just pick it up and play,
Yeah.
and it's really great.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you can still pick up Doom 2016 and play it,
I
and
know. I
you
was
wouldn't
gonna
be
look at how much
missing
it
out.
was actually. E3
Yeah,
deals, you
same,
never
not
know.
gonna
And yeah, like if you were saying, Travis, you picked this game up like 2 or 3 years after release, probably still holds up just
Yeah.
fine.
PS
Yeah.
Plus, give it to us. We wanna
Oh
play it.
baby, let's
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
The couch
Game
boys
Pass.
want it.
I don't
The
even-
Couch Boys.
Game Pass boys.
Come on, Xbox, press that Game
Yeah.
Pass. Anything? Well, I guess we gotta rate this bad boy.
Well,
right?
we
So-
didn't talk about Orion, that
Yeah.
new
Oh
technology.
shit! Yeah. So it
It's
was
just
in the
a
notes that I
streaming
had.
technology sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially you can stream a game. I don't know if you have to
Dylan
do it
can't
from a
wait.
console or from a computer, but you stream it to your iPhone 4.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they
Exclusive
said like
iPhone
multiple consoles, so it wouldn't just be like one. If that's is that what you're talking about, like whether it's PC or console,
Yeah. I don't know.
they
I-
can stream it from.
Well,
I'm a little
I don't- yeah.
confused.
I'm just. I
It
guess
seemed-
the point is I don't really know exactly what it is.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
they said like
It
all
didn't.
over.
I don't. They were kind of vague about what exactly it did.
I know he
but-
said we'll see you in hell.
He also they seem to really hammer home the Doom 2016. You can play Doom 2016 anywhere. So I'm guessing that's the only thing they have so far with the
Yeah.
technology.
I agree. They would have been like, you can play Doom 2016. This
Skyrim,
yeah.
I just realized
Yeah.
Skyrim wasn't mentioned at all.
No,
For the first time.
First, that might
No,
be the
first
first time in the 5 years they've done it.
Damn.
Wow.
Huge.
So yeah, I mean it's definitely a really cool idea, and I don't know. It seems like it's obviously as they're talking about, it's like a new technology. So I guess they're kind of the stepping stone to maybe this will become a more common thing. Obviously, streaming service in terms of like a Games Pass thing has been talked about a lot. Games
Oh, yeah.
Pass, but
Pass.
Rumored Ubi has is
yeah,
streaming. So like everybody's
exactly.
getting
Yeah.
into
So this is
streaming.
kind of like a
Especially with
different
them
take
bringing up
on that.
Stadia as well, which hasn't been brought up wasn't brought up by Microsoft.
What's
at all.
Stadia again, though?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Stadia is basically Google.
Google.
Yeah.
They're basically like, we're gonna put all these games on servers, like Netflix does with movies,
Yeah.
and then you just stream the game, and we
Yeah.
run it on our
Stadia?
servers.
I don't think how much were they selling it for too? Wasn't it a bad price to be
I don't
honest?
remember.
Yeah.
And you basically get access to the big game library they have.
Yeah.
That's
The
pretty.
only thing you
And-
got to worry about is if Google crashes, like happened a few days ago. People are like,
Yeah.
well, you'd be fucked game wise. But like,
Right.
Yeah.
you know,
So
then I
was
assume
it clear to anyone
Orion-
if the Bethesda, if this Orion, like if you buy Doom like on PC, then you can stream it to that, or if it's on like their own servers in their offices, and then you can stream it.
I imagine it's like an additional thing you just download onto your computer or your console, and then it streams it from there to your.
So you would need it downloaded on a computer.
I would think so. It seems like it's something that it pretty much just streams from a computer to a mobile device,
Right.
and then it just does that quickly.
Yeah. So
I'm not sure. They
if
weren't
that-
super
I wonder
clear
what
about
kind of
how
latency
how
there
it
is on
worked.
that. Because if
Yeah.
there's like 3 frames of latency, I'm out.
Yeah.
If there's 2 frames of
Mhm.
latency,
Yeah.
One
I
frame,
mean,
I can handle
There's
that.
like 20% less latency per frame, but as no matter what numbers you throw out on that,
yeah.
there's always going to be some
Just like
latent.
the time it takes for
Yeah.
you to click a button for that to go to the server and then for it to
Yeah.
come back to the screen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe that's not how it works at all. But if there's 3 or more frames of
Yeah.
latency, then that's a problem for me.
For me, I mean, with
I'm a
Stadia
frame nerd.
and this sort of thing,
Oh yeah.
it's never going to be very interesting to me because I love playing games competitively, and I love playing games that are crisp and clean. And if I'm sitting at my computer and the game isn't being run by my computer directly into the monitor, there's always going to be noticeable latency. Like if you've played Melee, there's always going to be noticeable latency,
Yeah.
and that's just
Melee's
not something
ingrained
that for
into
me
our bodies.
that just almost that like will just destroy my enjoyment of a game. So
Use the word destroy. That's a bold word.
yeah,
Expose.
I'll stand by
Better
it.
than decimate, right?
Yeah, decimation's not that bad. It's only 10%.
That's what Thanos did. Apparently, that's what they called it, right? The decimation.
I think that was one news article that
Yeah,
called it that,
was, yeah.
and I
They-
hate that news article.
They didn't name drop in the movie. Thank goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, I kind of agree with like Breaks here. I'm not really that interested in it 'cause I can't see much usage for it. But just like the technology in general, that's pretty cool, especially when they're showing off like
Mhm.
playing Doom 2016 on the phone right there. Like,
Yeah.
it's a cool idea.
She looked like she was having a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
so.
she's popping off.
Yeah.
She was getting some good kills in there. But yeah, I don't really have much to say on it.
No, I got nothing.
Ratings.
2.5, just a flat out pass. I couldn't fail 'cause like I said, there was some good games that I'm interested in. If there was no games I'm interested in, that's a fail. And it was not a horrible conference, just a very boring, disappointing one. Definitely their worst one. I think they will bring it next year. If Starfield's there, I think you'll get
Yeah.
a good 20-25
Maybe
minutes on
some
that game.
Deathloop gameplay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So, I think next year, like I said at the beginning of this, I think this was just a buffer year. Just let's get through this. I just wish then make it a bit shorter. So 2.5, a pass, but
Mhm.
just on that line. So
Yeah. I think I'm probably gonna be somewhere similar. I think if we looked strictly at the games and like the trailers and stuff, it probably would have been like a 3.5. But because of the really just awful pacing, I'm gonna be completely honest, it was awful pacing. Really, really brings it down. And I think as well, it didn't quite have that shock factor. Like I just wanted to call it Death Proof. Deathloop.
Yeah.
I'm obviously super excited for that. That's fantastic. But at the same time, it's like I was kind of expecting an Arcane game, and there wasn't like a big like the last conference they had Fallout 76. No one knew this was coming out. Boom, it's coming. It's coming in November. This same thing with Fallout 4. So they kind of have that factor usually, and they didn't this time around. There wasn't anything that's like boom, it's coming out in just a few months. You've never heard of this before.
Yeah.
Take
they
that.
let us know
definitely.
Doom was the main thing.
Yeah. So, and I think that probably does bring it up as well. Was that Doom reveal was super effective because that went from a game I didn't really care. I thought I didn't care about it, and now I really do, and there's a good chance I'll check it out. So there's definitely a few games in there that I'll likely purchase. So yeah, it was good in that sense, but the pacing was garbage. So I'm gonna go with the young 2.5 as well. Actually, 2.5.
You know he
Nice.
was gonna go a bit more, but remember the
I was
last
gonna
one
do
too?
2.6. But
Yeah,
I
he
didn't want
was
to
like,
be cheeky.
oh no, that's
Yeah.
a coward.
That's like a smug like Todd Howard move.
Yeah.
I'm
Horrible.
not into that.
I'll go. I'm gonna ride the hype train here. I'm gonna also give it a 2.5.
Wow.
the 50% hype train.
Super
Woo!
Yeah,
big
I'm gonna go
hype.
Nice.
2.5.
The Thanos hype train.
It's pretty much just 'cause they like how they handled the Fallout 76 stuff and the games that they revealed that I was pretty interested in. I can't really see myself failing this one, but overall it was too long. It was pretty boring and just I wasn't that invested in it, right? And there wasn't that big shock factor that
Mhm.
I'm kind of used to seeing at these E3 conferences. But yeah, like kind of like what Travis said. It's kind of come to, or it's. Jeez, I'm choking here.
Exactly what I said.
Exactly what Travis said. Just go to
verbatim.
Travis. No.
Travis.
Obviously, this would be like their dollar year, following the wave of
Their dollar year.
dull.
Oh, okay.
or- I couldn't think of a better word.
DULL,
I'm
my
sure there is
man.
out
Game
there.
Pass $1 1 month. Try it
My
out.
slam.
But like coming off of the Fallout 76, Flak, and Starfield, and
Elder
Elder
Scrolls.
Scrolls 6
6.
are just ways away. So I wasn't expecting too much. So
Yeah.
it was kind of in my expectations.
Yeah, wishy
Just a
washy.
pass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mish me.
No ban, so that was good.
I'm gonna just slide in there with a quick 2 out of 5.
Ooh, a fail.
This,
A
um,
fail of the
Raid, even though he's
year.
a Doom fan.
I think they did have enough stuff to keep me enough interesting stuff that it's not a 1, but as far as overall quality of a conference as a whole, as far as putting on a performance and keeping the viewer interested throughout the whole thing. I think they had a lot of unnecessary stuff that just dragged on.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes down to it, we're here to see games, we're here to see reveals, and we're here to see gameplay, game trailers, and reveals.
Reveals of games.
And it felt like
Exposes
when we,
games.
as far as the amount of time we took to talk about the games compared to the overall length of the conference,
Oh yeah, we're coming in.
we
about
were
over
at about
40
a
minutes now.
third
Yeah.
of how long the conference was. Whereas
A
you
third?
look at
Not
That's
third.
savage. That's not true.
when you look at Microsoft's, we were talking for the same amount of time as the conference was because they had enough content to fill those 2 hours.
And
I
we
gotta
joked
say this. You gave this a
around.
2, and I think you gave Microsoft a 4.
Yep.
Are you doing 0.5s, or is it
No,
strictly?
it's just strictly numbers. So
Oh.
yeah.
So it's like
He likes the Atom
maybe he
app. I
would have
hate
given a
it.
2.5 if he was doing that sort of thing.
I see.
But it's binary. It's a
Yeah.
pass or fail. There's no 50%.
Yeah, there's no 50%.
Okay.
So yeah, I think
Briggs
I
rules.
mean, and even then, it may have just been because of how poor the pacing was, and I was getting a little tired of the conference as a whole. But as cool as Ghostwire, Deathloop, and I'd say even just Ghostwire and Deathloop were as cool as those were. They weren't nearly as exciting as they would have been if there's better pacing and like the build up to them was
Mhm.
a bit more
Yeah.
exciting, or even if it was just revealed as a trailer on its own without a conference at all. I think there might be more excitement. And as far as Doom Eternal stuff, it was really cool to see the battle mode, but my excitement was just not at a very high level. And the gameplay itself of Doom was all fairly similar to what has been shown already. So despite it being the main thing, it felt like they were just kind of showing things that they've already shown for the most part. And the excitement just wasn't there. It wasn't nearly as hyped up as the last time I saw Doom Eternal gameplay or a reveal for it. So overall, it struggled to keep my attention. And the stuff that was interesting felt like it was bringing it up to like a pass, not feeling like it was really exciting. And so, yeah, I think despite maybe Microsoft not having things that I'm as excited for, the presentation of the things I'm really excited for from Bethesda just wasn't there. So, yeah, 2
Fair
or
enough.
5 could have been better.
Should have been.
Well, let's hope tomorrow's better. We got UB to start off with, but that'll be a little rocky.
Yeah.
But hopefully Square saves. We got Avengers game reveal.
Nintendo will be a straight banger.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. So we got some good stuff still on
Nice way to
the
cap her
we
off.
still got some good stuff on the horizon. So if you want to stay tuned,
Horizon
make
Dawn
sure
2?
you subscribe. You never know. Make sure you subscribe on the video or the audio feeds for all your E3
Mm-hmm.
great goodness. Check out all the stuff we did before. Check out Xbox. So until tomorrow, we promise you it'll not be
Bye
boring.
bye. See you tomorrow.
Please.